Do you feel that the Board of Education provides sufficient opportunities for parents and other members of the general public to help shape board policies? Why or why not? Ms. Kornreich.
I don't. I think we need to provide a lot more opportunity for real input from parents, from teachers, from the entire community. One of the examples that I will provide is that this Thursday there is a public hearing on the new Elk Ridge School site, and where they will hear testimony from community members regarding that site. And the work session in which the board will hear more further important information on that site, followed immediately by a vote, will not take place till October 7th. So I feel that we are being left out of a big part of the process. And I have never felt like I have had a lot of input into the decisions that the board makes, and that's part of the reason I'm here.
Mr. Meshkin?
I absolutely believe that everyone who has served on our Board of Education has done their very best and had good intentions, but I think that the process that has been established limits public input and involvement in the deliberations as well as the decision making. For example, the way board policies are currently done, there is a policy review committee that's appointed. Generally, there is a few, if not maybe just a couple, slots that are reserved for citizens to be a part of. Those meetings tend to be during the workday. Sometimes there's accommodations made otherwise, but generally they're during the workday, which limits people's involvement. When I was on the Tobacco Policies Review Committee a couple years ago, I was really humbled by the opportunity to represent so many parents from the PTA Council as well as the School Health Council, and I wanted more input, and so I constructed an online survey, and the great leadership of our PTA Council of Howard County sent it out to hundreds and hundreds of parents to get feedback on, so I could be armed with some data to say, here's what parents have to say, not just Brian Meshkin. And that was a good use of technology. This Thursday, they have a public hearing on the capital budget the same night they're voting on it. I think there are things that we can do to increase public involvement.
Okay, Mr. Ballinger.
Well, I think as I started off, and any information I give, I think we need to look at the process and ensure that all parents and teachers are involved in that process. One of the things that people asked when I walked around, what are you going to do to change it? If I'm elected to the board, I will make you this promise. My plan is to hold 3 town hall meetings, one in Elk Ridge, one in Ellicott City, and one in Western Howard County, and hear what parents and teachers say are the challenges they have, and document them, and I will make that my contract to every parent and teacher, that I will make sure throughout the next year I highlight and I make sure the answers to those concerns are heard. That's the first step that I will take to my commitment to making sure that every parent and every teacher has a voice in the process. I will make that promise, and that'll be my contract to every one of you.
Ms. French?
Obviously, the board could always do more. The problem is getting 7 busy people together at one time. But we do the town hall concept. It's called Coffee and Conversation. We have at least 3 or 4 of those a year, and they're advertised on the school calendar. Parents do come, they express their complaints, we record them, the chairman passes them on to the superintendent, and they are resolved. We really seek input as much as possible. Every email is read, and sometimes staff responds to them because they have the more specific knowledge. But I'm always available. You can always call me. My cell phone, my personal home number are on my email system. And as I was at Centennial High School today for the distracted driving, they said, "We knew you'd be there. You're always at our schools."
Mr. Aquino?
I think the bottom line here is how much is enough, and if anybody can answer that question, I'd be happy to accommodate them. As Mrs. French mentioned, we have lots of opportunities. They may not always work into people's schedules. I know that as a parent advocate over the years, starting 14, 15 years ago, I made it my cause to get involved. Do I think that the board listened to me every single time I spoke to them? I did. Did I have, over the past 3, almost 4 years now, take many phone calls at home to get parent input on things that admittedly they're calling with concerns, they just want to share their viewpoint with me? Absolutely. We have a process. The process, if people don't like the process, we'll work with you to change the process. We're open to all new ideas, absolutely, positively. Sorry, there's one other point I wanted to make, and I'm drawing a blank on it. Sorry.
Ms. Vaillancourt?
I think that it's gotten better. Back when I ran in 2004, one of the things that was really frustrating to me was that I had seen all my neighbors and a variety of other people who had spent hours and hours, just months of their lives, working on the redistricting and the boundary line committees, and showed up at all of these meetings and put in their proposals and were summarily dismissed. It was all part of a dog and pony show that the current board at that time was putting on, so that if there was a lawsuit later, they would be able to say they weren't arbitrary and that they had taken input. I don't think that that's necessarily the same degree that is happening now, but I talk to people often who really they acknowledge that the board members are accessible and that they have opportunities to talk to them, but they are often not heard, or at least they don't feel like they're heard. And I've seen on these panels a number of times where someone will be telling the board members something and they're just not hearing it because they're so used to hearing what they've already heard and what they're expecting to hear. It's a question of hearing it, not being there to listen.
Okay. Mr. Walker?
I think a lot has been said, and clearly one of the things that Mr. Aquino said is how much is enough. I think it's important for us to use all of the resources. As I said early on, one of the things that I don't think we do well is communicate. I don't think the school system communicates to the public what all resources are available for them to voice their concerns and how their response will be handled. To come to a coffee and tea and have someone write down your concerns and take them back to the superintendent, the next step is to let the community know how those concerns will be addressed. I think we can use our television station. I watch, some people think I'm crazy, I watch a lot of HCPSS television and just watch the same messages scroll across there. Let's use that to tell people what's going on, where to communicate, how the response will come. I mean, it's there. We pay a lot of money for it, and we might as well use it to communicate better.
Mr. Proudfoot?
You know, I believe that community participation is essential for improving the education for all of our students. Questions asked by the public during hearings should be answered immediately or referred to the proper staff members for a reply. The board has a responsibility to increase transparency efforts through multiple or diverse communication channels so that the public is aware of reports and operations and can have a voice to provide input to the policy as it's being shaped. I believe the systems and the channels can be improved.